the end game for applications you build is to run in production. So we made sure that anything you build on Redis Stack could seamlessly run on Redis Enterprise. When you're ready to take the plunge into enterprise-grade production environment, the process is simple and straightforward. The world of retail has gone through a major shakeup in the last couple of years, with quick changes in operating models and in shopper preferences and behaviors. To better understand the developer role in steering a retail business to thrive in such conditions, I'd like to welcome Omar Konkobo, the IT Director for Digital Services and E-commerce at Ulta Beauty, and Udi Gottlieb, our very own VP of Enterprise Product Marketing, for a fireside chat. Omar and Udi, please.
Hello, everyone. The retail world has gone through a major shakeup in the last couple of years, with the need to evolve at record speed to adjust to shifts in consumers' shopping patterns and preferences. To better understand how those changes shape the way retail apps and architectures are being built, I'm delighted to have Omar Konkobo here with me today for a fireside chat. Omar is the IT director leading Ulta Beauty's e-commerce and digital systems. He has nearly 20 years of experience in the IT field, spanning various industries from equity trading, insurance, healthcare, and most recently, retail. Omar, welcome to Redis Days. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Ode. Happy to be here.
Now, as you could probably tell, beauty products isn't my strong suit. So, for me and others like me out there, a few words about Ulta Beauty. So, Ulta Beauty is the largest US beauty retailer with more than 1,300 retail stores across 50 states. And also, it distributes its products through its website, which includes a collection of tips, tutorials, and social content. Omar, let's jump in. In today's keynote, we featured the new Redis 7 open source release. And open source offers many advantages to developers. What's your approach on adopting open source based products in your technology stack?
Good question, Udi. Actually, open source for us is a what I would call the lifesaver, basically. So it gives you a step into a technology at a basically at a no cost basis where you can get in and test the waters, get to learn from it. And we actually really like open source. We fully support the open source community. We try to engage and support and participate as much as we can. But definitely open source is one of the great um, things that are out there in the IT world that making empowering a lot of companies. You see a lot of big companies out there today that actually, started some basically billion-dollar companies from open source technologies. So it is really, really a great process, a great way to get your feet wet, to get to learn technologies and learn from them. So we fully support it and we leverage it as much as we can.
Got it. So, as you said, and I'll pick on the last phrase you used, get your feet wet. So, when you think about, those two paradigms of buy versus build, um, how would you approach open source in that context? Would you stick to open source when you need to start moving things into, more mission critical in productions, or will you move to commercial flavors of those open source products?
So that's a good question, actually. So our process is exactly that. So basically, what we do to use the term I used before is we get our feet wet with the open source flavor of that technology, and then as we move into the next phase where we happy with it, we feel like okay, this is going to do the job, and we're making it as an integral part of our ecosystem. At that point, we move on to the licensed version of it, the enterprise version of it that we work through and acquire that and continue to power our system while we get the true support, the uh, power behind that technology to help us continue to evolve on our side, right? So that's basically our approach most of the time.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. Now let's move and talk a little bit about Redis
Mhm.
at Ulta Beauty.
Right.
So, from a developer standpoint, what applications and services that Redis help you build?
So Redis as a developer, considering our development platform here, is a technology that powers a lot of our features. So it is heavily leveraged into our omni-channel strategy, but also in our current e-commerce platform that we built, and right. So we engaged in this. Uh, Roadmap where we basically rebuilding our e-commerce platform into a microservice-based approach, API-first platform, and in that we actually uh, Redis is playing a lot of taking a lot of key roles in that platform that we used to have in the old system. And so the intention is anywhere Redis can play a role, we want to reduce our effort on developing anything around that and leverage Redis to power those technologies. So that's been the approach. That's how we've been leveraging Redis. And it has been a great process so far. It's actually helped us simplify some of our integration to third parties and how we perform and improve our system. So it has been this is an ongoing work, but so far it is basically being um, the solution that we really needed to not only power our system, not only speed up our system, but also help us into finding solution faster than we would have otherwise.
I think that one of the projects that Redis was a part of is a bigger, kind of more strategic move that you were going through, taking some of your technology stack from on-prem infrastructure into the Google Cloud, a big change in the way you operate, I guess. How has that been going, and what problems it helped you solve, and what opportunities it helped unlock for you as you started to kind of go deeper into operating on the cloud?
Right. So the journey has not been easy, as building a whole ecosystem, a whole e-commerce. Actually, our e-commerce is over 10% of Ulta's revenue, as you heard in one of the what do you call that, earning costs that we've been having. So, and the intention is to keep that growing. So it's an important channel for the company. So it is also important for us that when we build that, we're making sure we're using the right technologies and our partners to help us power that. The way we do that with Redis is the as I was sharing earlier, the acceleration of the design, the build out of the solution, right? So why go in and try to figure out how to leverage caching when I can use Redis to handle that, right? Why do I need to start bothering about short-term in-memory storage when Redis can, jump in and do that? And the way actually Redis help us even accelerate our roadmap and get our uh, journey going faster is in the sense that in the prior world, we actually built everything on prem. So we had Redis running on some VMs on prem. And in GCP, in our cloud, in this new technology we're building, we migrated to the SaaS, the cloud version of Redis. And it's been definitely night and day, right, between the on prem and the SaaS offering because number one, we don't need to spend time trying to figure out sizing of our servers and the installation, the configuration, all that goes away. We just leverage the power behind it from the Redis team to give us what we need, and boom, everything is in place, right? So for us, that actually the time that we saved from sitting down and trying to configure things has been tremendous for us, right? So it is time saved that we can invest in actually doing more on what is more critical to the business, right? Focusing more on business logic building than trying to build solution that can that Redis can provide to us.
Got it. And I suppose that, the transition of Redis from on-prem to the GCP configuration of Redis has not been one of the challenges that you mentioned. I think that transition was going, uh, but you tell
Not
me,
at
I
all.
don't know.
Not at all. Actually, that's been, as I was sharing, that's been one of the easiest things because we did not have to go back and rebuild. So the our approach is the old technology is still running and powering the old side, and we're building this as new story on the cloud side. So the transition's been, I mean, if I have to say, it's been like almost unnoticeable on the Redis front, because for us, it's just spinning up these cloud instances that needs to power our technology, and figuring out during our designs, at what point do we leverage Redis instead, right? Instead of us writing things from scratch. So in that sense, yes, Redis has been not only not only like the easiest, fastest thing for us to spin up and get up and working, but definitely not even in a second one of the challenges that we had in implementing and getting things over. On the contrary, it actually helped us find quick solution to challenging issues around inventory. How do we manage inventory? How do we keep running if the third party providing the inventory goes out? So I would say on the Redis front, it's been more like the breeze, right, over the other hard areas of defining and thinking about how to get things in place and get them working.
Right. I wanna stop for a second and ask you about the last thing you said, which was
Yeah.
I think really interesting. I think you said that Redis helped you also deal with instability issues that you had with the inventory system, which is I think is a packaged application that you use as part of your stack.
Yeah.
How exactly did you do it?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So one of the issue we notice over time is that the we in through our journey in on Ulta.com, you have uh, areas where we always need to check inventory position in order for us to display the right product to you, right? So you don't end up with some things showing out of stock. And during along the journey, since we have so many touch points, one thing we noticed was that on the third party that we call and make and check on inventory position, we noticed that they've not been so reliable, right? So some calls will fail. Sometimes it takes longer for us to get the response back, and sometimes you get the response, but it is not consistent. So what Redis comes into play here is that instead of calling that third party all the time, we have a back channel that actually updates Redis with the latest position, and then leverage that latest position for the journey. So instead of us through the journey calling that third party, we actually check with Redis and say, okay, so do you have this for us? And then Redis gives us the position, and we continue with that. And so that basically decouples that third party and the customer journey, but then Redis just handles everything in the back with that third party. So whether that third party fails or it doesn't fail, Redis can continue checking and get the latest and keep it handy. And we check with Redis all the time as we go, right? So now that improved our process, because we know even if there are disconnect or issues, at least Redis has the latest position up to maybe 10, 15 minutes later. But if it is a customer journey and the customer has to check and it's slow, then you're impacting the customer. So basically with Redis, we basically just decouple the customer experience from the system instability that we see. Basically just leverage Redis to hide some of the problems that we have with our integrations, right? So that's how we approached it, and it's been working perfect for us.
Great, great. That's a great story to see how Redis helped you really streamline and stabilize and drive strong consistency in the way you deliver service to your internal customers and potentially to external customers as well. Great. Okay, so I want to keep on going down the path of your move to the cloud. A big driver for you to move to the cloud is to open the possibilities of microservices based architectures and be able to build more flexible services or microservices, so you can actually accelerate your innovation and build more flexible architectures to serve the digital needs of Alta. So again, for that particular, strategic goal that you have with that move to the cloud, how did Redis play into that?
So just as I was sharing earlier, that move into the cloud and leveraging a microservice approaches, you have different areas where Redis is intertwined into the solutioning and the designing of that platform, right? So, as I was sharing earlier, and up to this point, we're still finding new areas, new places where we think Redis comes in, but directly from the get-go, from the onset when we started planning, we already knew based on our prior experience with Redis that Redis has to be part of the solution, right? So from the get-go, we planned and we leveraged. This is a system that we're building on an API first approach with no storage capacity, right? So now if I have no storage, I need to also leverage the technology to give me some, short-term, uh, you know, in-memory processing power that I can leverage when I need, where, it is needed. And so going through with that in mind, so Redis was already part of the technology stack, the ideas we have from the get go. Now that we building this and we're getting them up and running, we now see new areas, new places of opportunity where we like, oh, okay, for this one, Redis could be the savior here, right? For instance, I would take an example we had recently where we have a middle layer and a orchestration layer that makes a call to a third party all the time. So anytime we make that call, that we initially never thought about caching those values, caching that detail. So that back and forth call was actually taxing and was impacting our performance. So then we decided to actually cache those. So the team went back, spent weeks actually creating a caching solution in the orchestration layer, which turned out to not even work. And we're like, oh, why did we even spend that time? Because this is an area that Redis can help. So now our improvement on top of that is to, okay, this is out. Now for our improvement is let's go and see how we can leverage Redis to get that work done, right? So the team engaged the Redis team. We're having those discussions ongoing. So the short answer to your question is that from the get-go we thought about it and how where Redis helps, and as we go we're still finding new areas where Redis can continue to help us and power our technology.
Right, and I think it's really, it's interesting, when you kind of embark on this journey going into the cloud and building your architecture more and more towards leveraging microservices, you actually have much more touch points between elements.
Exactly.
And
Right.
again, the more, so on one hand, you gain the flexibility, you gain the efficiency of, using less code. But on the other hand, you have your more touch points. More touch points could create, more latencies, etc. And this is where kind of Redis, I think, could come in between those
Exactly.
touch
Right.
points and help, yeah, and help you
Yeah.
accelerate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's great. Okay, so I have one more question for you, Omar,
Sure.
before we wrap up the session.
Yep.
We started introducing in the beginning, and we introduced Ulta as a brick and mortar chain that has 1,300 stores across the nation. But at the same
Correct.
time, the e-commerce part of it has become so important, so critical for the business. And
Right.
in my head, uh, those are two very different experiences. Either you go to the store and you go for the experience of going in, going through the displays and the shelves, or you have the experience of going into a website, which is a very different mindset. Now,
Right.
in our earlier conversation, you actually shared that you've done something that I haven't heard about, which
Mhm.
brings together both experiences and creates some sort of a combined in-store and digital experience together. Um,
Correct.
Tell me more about it. I think it's really
Right.
unique and really cool.
Yes, yes. So basically, the new platform that we're building, we actually thought about that platform as an enabler. So it's going to be like not only a platform that's going to be serving our e-commerce channel, but then we built it to go beyond just being an e-commerce channel, right? So it's going to be powering almost all of our omni channels. It's going to be powering a lot of technologies inside the store. And the way we look at this is, as we build this, what we call the roaming cart, the roaming basket. So the intention is that we want to basically merge the physical and the digital, right? So you can come online and go to the store, and your profile will still be the same, and there will be no difference. Let's say, Udi, you come to the site today, and say, you add well, let me use the red lipstick. I mean, a red lipstick could be nice on you. So let's say
Thank you.
you put in a red lipstick, and somehow you get distracted, or for some reason you don't check that out, and next day you happen to be in the store, and at the register, the associate there can actually say, hey, you know what, I noticed you added an item to your cart yesterday, and you want to purchase it here. Now you may say, well, no, because I didn't come for that. I picked some other stuff. But as we learn about our customers, as we learn about our behavior, we want to focus on personalization. And we can notice that, OD actually responds a lot to maybe say a specific coupon. And we can actually say, well, this coupon is actually available for that red lipstick that you actually added to your cart. So you could get it at a discount in the store, right? Anything could be anything, but the intention here is that we want you to be able to go to the store and still be able to see, what you did on the site. And the same thing, all your orders you placed on the in the store, you'll be able to also view those on the site. So those are we just bring in the physical and the digital together, and this is the journey we embarked on. And we're really happy to see technologies like Redis actually helping us make those possible.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for the tip. I'll definitely remember the red lipstick. I do need those beauty advices. As I
Of
said
course.
before, I'm not, I'm far behind when it comes to, taking care of myself. So thanks for the tip, Omar.
No problem,
And,
man.
but, back to the experience, I think, this is really cool and has so much potential because, bringing together the personal touch that could be part of the experience at the store,
Right.
and the knowledge that the e-commerce experiences bring into the store interaction is tons of potential. So I think
Right.
it's you're doing something really amazing there, taking the shopping experience to a new level in many ways. Great, Omar. It's been truly a pleasure, to spend those 20, 25 minutes with you and talking about, technology at Ulta Beauty and understanding, the challenges you were dealing with and how Redis came into play. Thanks for being a part of Redis Day San Francisco. And for everyone, thanks very much for being part of our fireside chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omar and Udi. Getting started with Redis open source to drive innovation and then moving to a commercially supported version becomes mission critical. And it's great to hear how it helps organizations like Ulta Beauty be nimble, then gain the scale of Redis Enterprise in their e-commerce systems.